Hey guys, I'd like to welcome you to the Kortex Media Podcast, where we navigate the fast-paced world of automotive and more. I'm your host, Corson Schmidt. Here today, I have Jeff Case, founder of Good Karma Garage, a nonprofit and commercial auto shop with a mission to make car repair accessible for everyone. After more than 30 years of a civil engineer, Jeff made an unexpected career shift, turning a project car with his son into a new passion and launching Good Karma Garage in 2021. His innovative approach has earned recognition, including a nonprofit innovation award, and led the creation of Good Karma Auto, a commercial garage that helps fund their charitable work. Jeff's journey is proof that it's never too late to start a new chapter and give back to your community, one car at a time. It's great to have you on, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate the time.
No worries. So we'll start by diving into your background. So you spent over 30 years in civil engineering before launching Good Karma Garage. Can you share what inspired you to make that shift into the auto repair and nonprofit work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got into, I was never a car guy growing up. I did my own maintenance on my car. That was about it. After high school, my son was kind of floating around, couldn't really find a direction. He had some aptitude for the automotive stuff, so we bought a project car, and I was trying to get him interested in that, as a career path. But then he moved on to other things, and well, you know how project cars are. One leads to another to another. So we had a couple of them, and he moved on to some other career path. He's actually in the U.S. Space Force now.
Awesome.
But he left me with the project cars, which was fine because I was enjoying it at the time. And then, it was probably, 2020, 2021, my wife came back from work, and she said one of her elderly coworkers was crying because she got a $1,500 bill for her car to get through inspection. And she didn't have the money to do it. So she asked if I could help her out. And Pennsylvania has an onerous annual vehicle inspection requirement. And, getting a $1,500 bill with your inspection is not unheard of at all. So, I helped her and we got her to inspection. I thought, there's probably a lot of other people like that. And
For sure.
I was kind of looking towards retirement and saying, what am I going to do after I stop doing the engineering gig?
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, hey, maybe I can put together some kind of a program or something to help out those people. So that's kind of how I ended up in the automotive world, and
Super cool.
I don't, maybe 10 years ago now is when I really got into it with the project cars and such. So, a lot of YouTube education, a lot of reading up on stuff, and I was very lucky with the program to get some good mentors too to help me move into the automotive world.
That's awesome. Can I ask you what the project cars are that you acquired, you and your son?
Yeah, sure. So the first one was a 82 Porsche 928, which is
that's cool.
Again, I'm not really a car guy, but I remember sitting on the bus going to high school back in the late 70s, early 80s. And I remember seeing one of those cars, a 928, and I thought, man, that is a great looking car. So we went out, and I'm sure there's tons of stories like this. We went out just to look at cars because my son was kind of getting into, and it was an old crappy one on the lot, and we ended up driving it home that day. So and we enjoyed the heck out of that car. That got to the point where I needed to yank the engine out to do a lot more work to it. Starting to have electrical problems and things like that. I didn't have the space to do it. So we ended up selling that one. And we got a 87 BMW 325.
Cool.
The one we got was actually in E, which was the economical version of it, and my son wanted to put an I engine in it, so we ended up acquiring the engine and doing all that other stuff, and we never actually did the swap, but we did have that thing running really well. And then my son had I forget what year it was, but it was a Honda CRX, which he dearly loved that thing. We did a lot of work to that, and then sold that on to another guy. that collects them and restores them and all that other stuff. So that one, and the BMW too, they both went to really good homes. So we were good, happy to see those going on to people that really would enjoy them.
For sure, that's super cool. For listeners that are unfamiliar with Good Karma Garage, can you just explain your mission and kind of how your services work for the community?
Certainly, yeah. So,
what you guys do?
We are a commercial garage. We do, everything. We don't do transmissions. We just don't have that specialty. But everything else we can handle. And then we offer a nonprofit program, which is our Working Class Hero program. And again, there's an onerous annual vehicle inspection in Pennsylvania, which really dramatically affects people in the low income bracket. So what we do for them is we have them bring the car in. We are an official Pennsylvania inspection station. They bring the car to us for inspection, which they pay for. But any repairs that it needs, we cover that free of cost to the recipient. So if the car comes in and the brakes are no good, we'll get the brakes and put them on for them. If they need tires, we'll take care of that. The emission stuff, I can't tell you how many catalytic converters we have ended up putting on cars.
I bet.
Trying to keep these hoopties on the road, because ever since COVID, the price of cars and stuff has skyrocketed to the point where these people have to keep these cars going to be able to keep their livelihood.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so having a program like this just helps them to drive legally and drive safely, so they can go out and make a living and stay in their houses.
No, that's awesome. I love the vision that you guys have for the community, and I think it's great because shops are super expensive when you look at it at the end of the day, and it's nice that you guys are actually helping people out that need some help of affording their vehicles.
The cost of the parts has been crazy.
Yeah.
I've just kind of seen it here in the last couple weeks. It's creeping up as well. I've noticed. So a lot of our vendors, when I go in to do price estimates, I'm going, boy, that seems high. And I go back and look, and it's the parts that are more.
Yeah. No, it's the tariffs aren't helping with the parts, that's for sure. Yeah. I noticed that about a month ago, I was working as a truck and coach technician, and I do brakes for friends and whatever else, but I noticed that prices are creeping up slowly, but it's just the way of the world. You can't do anything about it, which is unfortunate.
We just have to deal with it on our end. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, for sure. So how do you balance your time between ongoing engineer work and then running a garage? It's like, what does a typical day look like?
Yeah, that's the hard part right now. And fortunately, my retirement date's coming up. I told them end of July I'm going to be done with the engineering thing.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, and to be quite honest with you, it was unexpected to have to do them both at the same time. My original plan was to start the nonprofit and kind of limp that along for 5 or 6 years until I was ready to retire. But the very first year that we were in business, we got a lot of press. We got a lot of media coverage. We had the mayor of Harrisburg come down and see us and all that other stuff. And I thought, well, if we got this much juice behind us, we better take advantage of it. So we ended up, we moved into the garage, the commercial garage, 3 years ahead of schedule because of that media coverage, And so that's been the challenge. What I do now is I took a reduction in hours at my paying job so that I can be in the garage 3 days a week. So I work in the office 3 days a week, and I work in the garage 3 days a week.
That's really cool.
But even when I'm at my work, I work remotely from the garage, so don't tell them, but I'm still doing some work, for the garage while I'm on the payroll. But so like I said, in July, that's all going to come to an end, and I'll be able to concentrate on the nonprofit, or excuse me, on the garage. And the big benefit there is going to be trying to chase money for the nonprofit wing.
For sure. And how big of a team do you guys have in the shop?
It's myself, and then I have 2 technicians.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's not a huge shop.
Yeah. And are you a licensed tech yourself?
I am. Yeah, I have ASE certification. I got the at nights and stuff studying.
Yeah.
I took a couple of those.
Super cool.
The one guy we have came from a lube tech, or excuse me, a
Okay.
quick lube shop.
Yep. Yep.
So he has got the work ethic of a lion, man. This guy's awesome. But he doesn't have a lot of the technical skills, but he's really willing to learn. He picks things up quick, which is awesome. The other guy I have is a 20-year Ford Master Tech. So he's been because that was my big fear starting the thing. Is like I said, I was self-taught, so I only know what I know. That's it. I don't have any previous experience to fall back on. So when I started working on other people's cars, I was a little concerned with that. So he's been a tremendous help because he's seen a lot and he's kind of helped me go over the rough patches where I kind of don't know what to do, don't know which direction to go. And he says, here it is. So he runs the shop, and I take care of all the administrative stuff.
Oh, it's super nice. Super nice. I love the vision behind it. I love how you guys are helping out people. I know I've said that. I already said that. But it's just, It's amazing because you don't hear of that. And I haven't, in my 20 years, I haven't heard of any shop.
I think we're the only one in Pennsylvania that's
work.
doing this. I know that we are the only nonprofit licensed inspection station in Pennsylvania because it typically takes about a week or two to get certified. Because we were a nonprofit company, it took me 3 months to convince PennDOT that we were legitimate and get in there. So, we're the only ones doing that. I know there's a lot of kind of, like you were saying, there's a lot of churches that do automotive ministries where they help people if they need brakes or something like that. And a lot of those, the people buy the parts and bring them there, and they have somebody that knows how to put them on, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think we're the only one in the state that is doing this program.
Super cool. That's awesome. Who's your biggest role model in your entrepreneurial journey now that you're an up and coming entrepreneur?
Yeah, right. I guess I am. I'll tell you what has been a big help to me is the acceptance, I guess I'll call it, that we got from the automotive industry. So. Like I said before, I have an automotive background. I certainly didn't know anything about the automotive industry when I started this. And so I went around to some shops, and I kind of told them what I wanted to do. And almost all of them were really supportive. I heard several times, I always thought we needed a program like that, or I always thought I'd like to start a program with that. But there's been one guy that really has mentored me through this, local shop owner here in Harrisburg, and I would not have been able to do what I've done without his help, because when we first started, what I was doing, since I wasn't an inspection station, he would actually do the quote-unquote legal inspections for us. So now he did look over the cars. I'm not saying he didn't do anything illegal. But what I would do is I would go over the car and make sure that everything was done and ready for inspection. And then I would take it to him. He would do the actual inspection and get the stickers on it. And he just helped me tremendously. So I worked out of his shop for a couple days, he was showing me what to look for inspection, that kind of stuff. And then I went through the state accreditation. So I got my emissions license and my safety inspection license through Pennsylvania. But Mark at Sonny's Automotive Service Center, he really, really helped me through this whole thing. And then we have a couple, Napa has been a tremendous help. Not so much the corporate guys, but the local store that we deal with has been very supportive. Whenever they get surplus equipment or surplus parts or something like that, he calls me and asks if we want it. They've donated thousands of dollars of parts and stuff to us. They had a whole fastener bin, nuts, bolts, all kinds of stuff that was just surplus someplace. So they gave it to us, and that's been a godsend. Instead of having to send out for a bolt or something like that, you just walk over to the corner and grab one. That's awesome. I didn't have to pay for it. I just have to keep filling it up. So it's fantastic. Tire Mart has helped us out quite a bit with Yeah, I know probably people don't know these places, but if anybody's in Harrisburg, they will know them and be able to support them because they've done a lot for us. But Tire Mart really helped us out with tires. They provided us tires at cost, so it was literally costing them money to give us tires, and they've been supportive through this whole thing. I've tried to, now that we're commercial, I've tried to throw business back their way, and to continue to buy tires from them. But yeah, the local people here have been quite supportive.
That's super cool, and that's just what I love about the automotive industry as a whole. Is you always have those people that are looking out for you. Like even if you're a commercial shop in a small town and there's a couple of commercial shops, every shop is working together. Like they're not fighting, they're not competition. They're working together. If they don't know something, they'll speak to the other professionals to see if they can get a little hand on this. I think it's great that the smaller companies are also helping you out, especially Napa. They're not a small company by any means, but they're helping you out, giving you a hand because they see the vision that you have, and especially the tire company as well. That's super cool, and it's nice.
Yeah, and I will say Napa Corporate did give us preferred pricing on things, even though we didn't at the time we didn't have the volume. We have since grown to be a significant purchaser of the store that we have, but we were able to get the better pricing when we were just starting out. So Napa Corporate did help us out.
Super cool. That's awesome. And it's nice that there's still good people in the world that are willing to help out a nonprofit.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, and I'll tell you, that's been another really enlightening part of this journey. So one thing that I wanted to do, one population, I guess, that I wanted to serve was people that are looking to get their lives back together, right? So I started working with a lot of social services groups to find people that were in programs that were they're struggling, trying to get back on their feet, to see how we could help them. And the reception I got from those organizations was really enthusiastic, and they were like overjoyed that we were doing this, and I thought that was kind of odd. Like they were a little too happy about what about what I was doing, So I finally asked, and as it turns out, one of the biggest. I wish I could say I knew this before I went. I wish I was this smart, but I'm not. One of the biggest hurdles that people have in if they're trying to go through rehab, re-entering society, abused women, people coming off of homelessness, the biggest hurdle that they have is transportation. And those social services agencies had no way to deal with that, to help with that. And when we showed up, they're like, this is a godsend for our people. There's a lot of them, if they don't, well, almost all of them, if they don't have a car, they can't get to work. They can't make a living. They're going to lose their house. So that was really important to these folks. And again, I wish I could say I knew I was smart enough to see that ahead of time, but I was not. So yeah, it's a delight to be able to work with those folks and to see what they do is pretty awesome too. The people that work in the social services agencies, wonderful people, just willing to give back, and they aren't paid nearly what they're worth in society, but really, really enjoy working with them.
That's super cool. That's amazing. It's all coming full circle. The whole community is looking out for helping people get back on the road, and that's where you're coming in as well. That's super cool. In the automotive industry and repair, have you seen any big trends or new trends coming along? Obviously, AI is one, but have you seen a lot more EVs coming into the shop? What are some of the trends?
Well, we're a Center City shop, so no, we're not seeing EVs. I see a lot of the ATIS stuff. We're not seeing those cars yet. Probably, I would say the median car that we see is probably going to be about a 2013, 2015 car. So we get an awful lot of those. With the average car we get through our nonprofit is probably around a 2010 car. We're not seeing a lot of those. A lot of Priuses. That's about as close to modern technology as we get.
Yeah. That's nice. That's nice, though. It keeps it simple. As soon as you
It
get
keeps
that
it simple.
technology
Just
in those
sometimes
cars,
the bolts are pretty happy where they've been. They don't want to come off. Sometimes it's a
that's
struggle
very
getting the
true.
old part separated from the car.
That's very true. Um, how has AI affected the finance and technological side, like for customer
I'm not doing
retention and
anything with
whatnot as
AI.
well?
I am most definitely not a technology guy. I had to get my
Yeah,
daughter set up our social media thing, and she had to
that's
teach me how to do that. So,
yeah.
um, yeah, I really don't. I can't answer that question. I can't even
Oh,
speak
that's
to it. I
okay.
don't. I did use AI to kind of help me put together some marketing stuff,
Yeah.
but that's as much as I got. And really, all I'm doing is asking it to write it because I'm not. I'm a technician and an engineer. Neither one of them are really good with words, so I use the computer to
No,
do that.
that's totally understandable. What are some of the biggest challenges you face running the nonprofit and now running a commercial shop, and how have you overcome some of those challenges?
Yeah, the biggest challenge with the nonprofit is the money. It's just a constant search for money. And because I've been splitting my time, I really haven't had a chance to concentrate on doing that. So our social media following isn't huge. It's bigger than I thought it would ever be, but it's not. Anybody that look at it go, it's just a drop in the bucket.
Yeah,
But we really need to come up with some fundraising ideas to be able to develop an income stream that we can work with. A lot of the foundations and the grant people, they have limits on what they want to do with the money. So that makes it kind of difficult because, buying the parts is an important part of that, but also an important part of that is paying the electric bill, paying the rent. We don't have any employees on the nonprofit side, so
for sure.
can't really complain about salaries. But there's a lot of other things that go into putting that part on that car other than just buying the part. And most places just want to pay for the part; they don't want to get involved with the other thing. So
Hmm.
the coming up with money and that kind of stuff has been the biggest challenge on the nonprofit side.
For sure.
Originally, we started with the idea that we would use volunteer labor and get some folks that um, wanted to do some stuff, nights, weekends, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I quickly found out that one, the quality's not there. Not everybody, everybody thinks they're a master mechanic, but not everybody is. So we had some comebacks with some things that other people did. The other thing is that we can't do the volume that we're trying to do. We
Yeah.
did 217 cars last year. We're on pace to
Wow.
do probably at least 200 this year. We're shooting for 300.
That's still a lot of cars.
It is, yeah, but we can do more. My goal, what I'd love to do, is get to the point where we're only doing the nonprofit stuff. If I can get these funding streams together,
That would be really cool.
um, yeah. So that's kind of really it there on the nonprofit side.
Yeah.
On the commercial side, I think we're doing pretty well. The biggest challenges for me over the last several years were figuring out how the automotive industry works.
Yeah.
Because I'd never seen the inside of it. I was always the guy on the other side of the counter paying the exorbitant bill for the
Yeah.
repair. So, where to get the parts, how to get parts cheaply, how to do things efficiently, how to run the shop. That's all been a pretty steep learning curve for me now. Now I think I'm in a pretty good spot with that. So now I think it's time to start making some efficiency decisions and things like that. But like we talked about before, the prices on auto parts keeps going up.
Hmm.
Utilities are going up. Everything's going up. So keeping up with that is difficult. Like I mentioned before, we deal with older cars,
Yeah.
people with limited income. So I had a salesman come through and say, how much are you charging for your fuel injection cleaning? We're not selling fuel. Nobody's coming in wanting to pay $90 for fuel injection cleaners. They do what
Yeah.
needs to be done. If it's broke, fix it. If it's not broke,
Yeah.
leave it alone. That's kind of what we're doing. So that's kind of interesting too, because we're not quite where we need to be on a dollar per work order basis, and
Yeah.
that's because of the people who we're serving. We're actually
Mm-hmm.
potentially looking to move out of the city into the suburbs to help with that problem. But yeah, I think the part suppliers have been good. We're like I said, now that we're all set up, I'm kind of looking to see if we can't do better on parts and that kind of thing. But just the cost of business has been the issue.
For sure.
Having that master tech on board, he has really helped me to get up to speed on the kind of things we need to be doing, the way we need to interact with the customers and the cars and such like that. But yeah, kind of coming up with ways to be efficient, I think is going to be the key. That's going to how we're going to weather this parts issue. We've got to limit the impact to the customer while still making the money that we need to make to keep the doors open.
For sure. No, and I feel like that money is not always, but it's the biggest issue with any business. You need
Absolutely.
you need cash flow to have a business have a business running, especially a non-profit where you're not getting business or money from your
Not getting paid
consumer.
for. Yeah, exactly.
And it sucks that it's nice that you guys are getting more funding. It just sucks that a lot of the governments aren't giving the funding for nonprofits to help people out that need the help, because it's really something pretty big in our world.
Yeah.
That a lot of people need help with certain things, and that's one
absolutely.
huge thing.
There's tons of holes in what the government covers. So that's where the nonprofits really should be shining, right? That's where the nonprofits are coming in to kind of fill that, because it does cost a lot more for the government to do these things than for a private organization to do it. So
For sure.
yeah, I would definitely like to see more money coming from the government. Most of the money we get is from private foundations. We have not found a good source of grant money from the government.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it's kind of sad that we don't get that help from the government to help people out that need the help, especially a vehicle, like you said. It's the transportation that takes you to and from work, and if they can't get to and from work, they're not going to be able to pay their bills, and it just creates an even deeper cycle, and it's
absolutely
it's terrible. So I just have some questions about the goals for the company. Where do you see Good Karma Garage in the next 6 to 12 months? You're going to be going full-time in on the garage.
6 to 12 months, I'm going to be full-time in, and I see a lot more of my time going to fundraising and grant writing, getting out there trying to find some corporate sponsorship. That's going to be good. There's a nice program that Pennsylvania offers for corporations to get involved with nonprofits. So I really want to take advantage of that. I just have to find the right corporate folks to get involved there. But that that's something. That's kudos to Pennsylvania for this program. It's the NAP program that they've put together. That really it's quite an incentive for companies to get involved. So
For sure.
I have to find what's going on there. We should be adding an alignment machine. We just bought an alignment rack last year with grant money I got, and I got approved for the grant money. So now we got to wait the 4 or 5 months for the paperwork to come through so we can go out and purchase the rest of it. So we should have that up and running by then.
That's awesome.
And I just look over the next 6 to 12 months, I look to be a lot more efficient than what we are now.
For sure. No, that totally makes sense. And you're going to be working full-time with the group now, so that's obviously going to make it a little
that'll help.
more efficient there.
I do I do want to say that our shop manager really is doing a good job, and on the days when I'm at quote unquote at the office, he's got to run the front desk and the shop at the same time. So it's quite difficult. He gets very frustrated on those days, and rightly so. I mean, it's just hard to start working on something and get pulled off at every 3 seconds to answer the phone or talk to
For sure.
So I would ring out a customer or something like that. So, yeah, that would be. I tell you the truth, I'd love to be able to get to a point where we could have a full-time person up front.
That would be
So once we do get some efficiency in here, that's the first thing we're spending money on is somebody to run that front desk.
for sure. No, that's amazing. And you said you wanted to push more towards the nonprofit side and kind of get out of the commercial side if once you get the funding for it.
Well, my goal would be, yeah, I think I did say that, but my it's not that I want to get out of the commercial side. What I would like to do is be able to run a full-time operation with the nonprofit stuff. I actually am enjoying running the garage. I kind of
Yeah.
did it as a necessary evil to start with, but
Yeah.
I really am enjoying it. So I would like to keep doing that because there are two different companies, right? There's a for-profit company and a nonprofit company. So
Yeah.
it'd be great if I could keep both of them going. But I would like to be able to, because there's such a need for help. I mean, we're getting
Yeah.
way more applications for help than we have the funds to support. So
Yeah.
I would like to be able to do. I would like to have one lift that was devoted to nothing but the nonprofit work, and then the other ones could be for the commercial. We have 3 lifts in there, so if I could hire a third guy or gal, I'm not a sexist. Yeah, if we could hire a third technician to keep that one lift going with just nonprofit company, that would be a tremendous
That would be awesome.
plus, and it would also help. Long term, like probably every other shop owner out there, I got a lot more ideas than I got time or money to put in place. But
Yeah.
like I mentioned before, we're the only game in town. We're the only game in the state.
Yeah.
So we're in Harrisburg. There's York City and Lancaster City, which are within an hour from us. We get people that come from there all the time.
Wow.
So what I'd like to do is expand down into both York and over into Lancaster. So if we can run an operation there, then we could really increase the volume that we're doing.
For sure, and
So
help
I'm
out a lot more
actually
people.
working with, I mentioned Tire Mart earlier, talking about mentors. I'm working with him now to kind of come up with I'll call it a playbook on how to provide the service. So if I can find a shop in York and Lancaster that are interested in helping out with this, what would they need to provide to be able to do this service? If I did the administration for them, could I just send them people down there? So if we had kind of remote locations in Lancaster and York, that would save people a lot of driving. It would also increase the people we could help too. So
Yeah,
that's
amazing.
probably a more of a 2-year goal, but it's on the list.
I love how your vision is all towards expanding the nonprofit and not taking the commercial side. That is super cool, and you want to get people even in the same state moving towards the same goal, and you're getting the whole community to do that as well. I find that that's super cool because you don't find a lot of people that have the ambition to do to create a nonprofit and want to expand
and I
it.
think the encouragement that I got there was when I originally started, and when I started talking to the shops. I kept hearing, "Oh yeah, that's something that we've needed for a while," and so I thought about doing that, and blah 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 blah. So if I could hit some of those people and say, "Oh, you'd like to do that? Well, here's a playbook on how to do it, and I can help you with the infrastructure." So that maybe could either call their bluff and see what they do, right?
For sure. No, that's awesome. What advice do you have for others considering a big career change and starting something new later in life?
I would say make a clean break. It's been tough trying to run both of these at the same time. And like I said, I had a plan to do it, but the plan went a lot quicker. I will say that I'm getting 4 more paychecks in my life. That's a little scary.
Yeah.
Right? Because once I leave the company, that's it. I only get 4 more paychecks. So that's a little scary. But financial planning, before we made any big decisions on this, we went to a financial planner and what does our retirement look like? That's how much money are we getting? What all that other stuff. We made sure that was in place. So I think that's important. It's you want to be secure in what you're going to do.
For sure.
But emotionally, I've been looking forward to this break for a couple years now. I really was just kind of getting, the engineering thing ran its course. I was enjoying what I did there for a long, long time, but it just has gotten tedious over the last couple of years. So emotionally, I know this is the right decision. Emotionally, I'm ready to make the break, and finding something that you really want to do. It makes a difference. It makes a difference in how you get up during the day or the beginning of the day, and how you go about your business during the day. It's fun being excited about what I'm doing again. After 30 years of engineering, I had it kind of figured out I could do it in my sleep. It was just the same thing over and over and over again. This is all new. It's exciting. It keeps me going. So I
that's super cool.
Highly recommend people do that. You only go around the merry-go-round once. So if you're stuck someplace you don't want to be, look to get out of there.
There's tons of opportunity in the world, that's for sure.
Yeah, there is. And if the other thing I would suggest to people is looking at nonprofit, not necessarily starting a nonprofit or anything, but look for ways to give back. I can't remember who said it, but there's a quote that whoever said money can't buy happiness hasn't given enough of it away. So the look that we see on people's face, when they come in with that, because a lot of the people that we get on the nonprofit side have been somewhere else before, and they come in with that $1,500 bill. They don't know what they're going to do about it, and we tell them, well, you're going to have to pay us $67 to do the inspection. We'll cover the rest of it. And it's like the relief on their faces is
that's amazing.
That's what keeps you coming back, that kind of thing.
That's priceless.
So, exactly. And that just warms your heart. It keeps you going. And it really makes your day. So being able to help other people will warm your heart. So, and it doesn't have to be an automotive. It could be whatever you want to do.
Anything.
Whatever you feel like you can give back.
That's amazing.
Working in a food pantry, something like that. There's tons of opportunities out there, and I highly recommend it.
That's super cool. I love that advice. That's awesome. Where can people find you? Your website, social media?
Yeah, we're at goodkarmagarage.com. Karma with a K. I wasn't clever enough to spell it with a C. And then, we're also on Facebook. There's a link on the website to our Facebook page.
Perfect.
I think there actually is another Good Karma Garage on Facebook. The guy's down in South someplace. We're the one with we have a dog logo.
The dog. I see it on your shirt there, too.
Well, actually, that's the guy.
You have a Jack Russell logo,
but he's... so I couldn't find any of my nice, clean Good Karma Garage shirts.
Oh, it looks good. It matches.
Yeah.
How can listeners get involved, support your mission, or help spread the word about Good Karma Garage?
If you can follow us on Facebook, if we can get a bigger social media following, that I think will help us with fundraising and everything else. Of course, there's a donation button on our website page. They're always welcome to go on there. It takes a lot to keep this thing moving, so every bit helps. We have a lot of the administrative stuff covered, so the donations that we get from the website go right to the cars. That doesn't go to pay for admin or rent or any of that other stuff. I try to take that from the for-profit side, so that whatever people put into it goes directly into the cars that we're serving.
That's awesome.
But if they can, also we're on LinkedIn. I don't know if there's a big following in the automotive community on LinkedIn, but we're on there as well. So if anybody wants to follow us on Facebook, that would be very much
That's awesome.
very much appreciated.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, Jeff. That was a
I appreciate you
great
inviting me.
conversation, and I love your mission. So that's super cool. I hope this podcast finds some people and they'll reach out and help you out, and maybe we'll chat again once you're getting full knee deep in the
Yeah,
in
when
the
we
mud
get all
with
our
the,
remote sites up, I'll give you a call. We can give you an update. So,
yeah, that'd be really cool. Well, thanks so much for coming on the pod.
all right, thank you.
No worries.